Hello, good morning. It's Thursday, July 10th, 2025, and this is the Daily Collective Tarot Oracle reading on Jade Green. Your girl had to get out in nature, so thank you for indulging me. If you saw the weekly download posted on Sunday, July 6th, you know that today's card is the Five of Cups. Now, I call this the Do Not Cry Over Spilt Milk card, but I do want to focus more so on what has actually spilled. I'll bring this a little bit closer. Yes, so you got a person who is crying over 3 cups that are spilled over, while behind them they have 2 cups that are still standing upright. So, this is basically emphasizing silver linings, that there's still hope amidst, amongst the mess, so to speak. But it still is important to focus on the foreground of this card, because it does convey a natural and oftentimes inescapable part of life, which is grief. And as we focus in on our oracle pulls for today, it reinforces what today is, with the Five of Cups here. So Oshun decided for the 3rd time this week that she would show up and emphasize that we need to have fearless love for ourselves, for spirit, for our God, for our higher power, for our family, for our friends, for our community, for whoever, if we have partners, for our partner or partners. This is always going to be important. I feel like this is a staple. I think that's why she is like the central archetype within this deck here, and also within a lot of connections that people have to the African deities. So a lot today. Igbo, goddess of fertility in the afterlife, is also what I want to focus on, because she also emphasizes the importance of accepting grief as a part of life. It is so important that we grieve, because how else do we know how much we have cared, how much we have loved? It is through our levels of grief, but it's not something that is meant to be held on to. Grief is something to process and to release. When we hold on to grief, it festers, and it can manifest in certain sort of way, in violence in its many forms. It can manifest in mental illness, hoarding, or like deep psychosis. Like, grief can do a lot of things to us when we don't surrender it. So that's why it's important to let grief go. Do your 5 stages and move it, because we always have some cups still standing behind us, waiting for us to turn around so that we can see them, and this time we can move forward in doing our best to make sure those stay upright. How do we do that? By remembering that we must love fearlessly. We must love ourselves fearlessly. We must have love within our spirit fearlessly, for our ancestors fearlessly, because they understand the grief perhaps more than anybody. Okay? And we must understand that on the other side of grief can be great joy when we do it properly. So don't forget that grief is important. Accept grief as a part of life, but don't forget that it always comes back down to this: fearless love. All right? Well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for once again indulging me on this nice day. I'm going to go figure out if these water lilies are actually water lilies or if they're really lotus flowers. So that'll be the nerd in me for today. In any case, ciao.